It's like Christmas, but it's not. I'm so excited for today's video. I'm gonna be sharing with you three things. One, an unboxing of my new DJI FPV drone. Second, I'm gonna be sharing with you why I bought this specific drone and in which combination of options I bought to help you make the right decision for yourself. And lastly, I'm gonna be sharing with you why I bought this drone and how it stacks up against the other drones I fly in case it might be something you wanna consider for yourself coming up. And if you're new here, aloha. I'm Christine and this is Create with CL, where I give away all of my secrets on what goes behind being a travel creator. And one of my tools is my drone. So let's open it. There's a lot of stuff in this box. It's a pretty big box. Do I look as cool as I feel?
My goal as I was unboxing this was to not look at the manual and instead see how intuitive everything was, and it was very straightforward. But one tip for you that I got tripped up on, the way in which the goggles are powered with an external battery definitely tripped me up, so look out for that.
Not my favorite color. Will be easy to see my drone. All the things I don't plan to read. Let's be honest. Okay, it has been exactly 5 minutes and 30 seconds for me just to literally open the box and see what's inside of it. A quick word from our sponsor, which is me. Hi. If you're enjoying this video, cheers that like button and consider subscribing. If you have tips for me on how to fly my FPV drone, tell me in the comments below.
I'd love to know.
And also tell me in the comments if you're considering this drone. Actually, in my next video, I'm gonna see how long it takes me to actually get it set up all the way from putting it together and then registering it and then getting it into the air. Because so many people think that they can just grab it out of the box and start flying, and generally it doesn't work that way. But let's see how long I can do it in. Let's keep it going, keep it going, keep it going full speed.
I figured I would look ridiculous if I already look ridiculous, so let's go.
Let's break down the different options on how you can buy this drone, because you do have a few ways you can do it. The first way is you can buy the drone alone, but this requires that you already have the DJI FPV goggles. For me, I don't have the goggles, so I needed to buy the FPV combo, which came with the drone, the goggles, the controller, basically everything I needed to be able to start flying it out of the box. The second thing that I bought was the Fly More kit. And the reason for this is because the battery life on this drone is so small. And so the Fly More kit was a price of $299. And the other option is to buy a single battery alone, which is $159. And so it makes sense for me to just have gotten the Fly More kit so I can have all of those batteries. To be totally honest, I made this mistake when I bought the Mavic Mini, and I ended up buying the batteries separately, and it ended up costing me way more to buy all the batteries versus just buying the Fly More kit from the beginning. So I'm trying to learn from my own mistake. I hope that you learn from my mistake too. But to put into perspective how long you can fly this drone, the FPV drone advertises itself as having a 20-minute flight time. And that's if you're flying it at 40 kilometers per hour with zero wind. What the heck does that mean? And what does that mean in miles per hour? Translation, it's flying your drone at 24 miles per hour in windless, no wind conditions, which for me will happen never. This drone goes really fast, so flying at 24 miles per hour is like a turtle, and I want to be the rabbit. But based off of all of my flights, flying my Mavic Mini 1 as well as my Mavic Air 2, these drones advertise themselves as having 30 to 34 minute flight times, but really I'm getting on a great day a flight time of around 20 to 25 minutes. I like to fly aggressively. So for the FPV drone, I'm expecting my flight times to be like 10 to 15 minutes. That's it? Yes, and that's what she said. There's also something else that you have to buy, because if you fly these drones, you probably want to take photos and videos, and that's buying the micro SD card. The price for that through DJI is kind of expensive, so I just bought one off of Amazon, link in the description below for the one that I bought, but basically it's the same thing but cheaper. There are two more options you have that you might be wondering about. One is the motion controller, and coming in at $199, it was tempting to buy this right off the bat, but I think until I'm starting to fly it in manual mode regularly, I'm just gonna buy that after the fact. I think getting started, I have enough work to do to learn how to fly this drone with a regular controller that I didn't feel a need to jump into that immediately. The other thing you might be wondering about is insurance. And yes, I did get the DJI Refresh insurance for this drone because I feel like if I'm not pushing my limits around flying manually, I'm not trying hard enough. If I don't crash my drone, I'm not trying hard enough. But I feel totally different about the other drones. In other words, for the Mavic Mini and the Mavic Air 2, I never felt like I needed insurance for that because I feel like these drones not only have so many safety features within them, kind of felt like it was impossible to ever crash. Which if you want some safety tips around that, check the link in the description below. Flying drones should not be hard. It's easy. I don't know why everyone makes it seem so hard. But the FPV in manual mode, that might be a different story. Which, by the way, so many people have told me that, Christine, it's gonna take you at least 10 to 50 hours. That's a huge range, by the way, to learn how to fly this drone regular, not in manual mode, but regularly flying this drone. And so I'm gonna capture myself flying this drone every single day, and I'm curious, how long will it actually take me to learn? Stay tuned. Okay, let's talk about why I bought this drone. To put things in perspective, I have been researching and wanting to fly an FPV drone for exactly 11 months. I have been really wanting to get into FPV, but now is the time, now that DJI has their FPV drone. And let me put things in perspective. The drones prior to this required that you build them and solder them. In other words, you were basically guaranteed going to crash these drones, and having the ability to fix, solder, weld, whatever you need to do to these drones is something that was just required. And my ability to access my dad, who will do that for me, doesn't really work if I'm constantly traveling nonstop. The second thing is the battery time. I know that the battery time that I mentioned before seems really short. It was even shorter than that for the FPV drones prior to this. I don't even know how that's possible. So short. The other thing is when you were flying the goggles before, a lot of times you basically are looking through something that is so glitchy looking. It's really hard to figure out if you're even capturing what you want to be capturing well, because what you're looking at through the goggles was not nearly as good as what it is now. And the last reason is literally with a push of a button with this new DJI FPV drone, your drone will just stop and hover. In other words, the drones in the past didn't have that kind of safety button. In other words, if you were starting to like go out of control, or you were kind of losing it, you were basically just gonna crash your drone. Now, if there's something going wrong, it's like you have an emergency brake where you push the button and the drone will just stop and hover. And that's pretty freaking amazing. And then that other thing I mentioned earlier, you were basically guaranteed going to crash the other drones, and I'm sure I'll crash this drone, but not with a 99.999% guaranteed rate of crashing. Okay, so to recap, for all of these reasons, that's why timing-wise, now was the right time for me to buy and invest in this FPV drone. And the second reason why I bought it is because I'm looking for that other POV. That's the whole point of a drone, right? It's giving you that aerial view. And with FPV flying, I can do things like, here's a shot that I got with my Mavic Mini while traveling through Ethiopia earlier this year. Super cool. How much more awesome would it have been if I could have been flying around and near those cliffs in a really unique way? I would have loved to try to get that kind of a shot. So that POV is the second reason why I chose this drone. The next reason why is because I just want to geek out, because I'm kind of a geek like that. And the last reason why is because I'm looking for that challenge. Again, like I mentioned earlier, people are telling me it should take me 10 to 50 hours to learn how to fly this drone, and I really want to figure out how long it takes, so stay tuned for those videos. Okay, let's compare this drone to the other drones that I fly in hopes that it helps you to ask yourself the right questions to figure out what's right for you. When I think about the Mavic Mini, that drone for me is what I am bringing when I am tight on size. And there are a couple scenarios. One will be if I'm flying somewhere and I am carry-on only and I need something really small. Another example is when I'm going kayaking. I want that tinier drone, or when I'm skiing, I want to throw that thing in my backpack. I need the smallest thing possible in these scenarios. My Mavic Air 2 can do so much more than the Mavic Mini. It definitely has more quick shots and the ability to follow me or other things. I'm a solo traveler, so taking my own photos and videos is key. So I'm using my Mavic Air 2 when I need things like being able to follow me and take my own photos and videos of myself, or when I'm trying to do it for the gram and get more unique shots like that top down, great for Instagram stories style of shot, as well as things like time lapses or other more fun photos and videos that the Mavic Mini can't do. And now, my FPV drone. Oh, I'm so excited. In scenarios such as I was just in Oahu last month and capturing some of the beautiful landscape, I would have loved to fly this drone, for example, when I was hiking the waterfall, or being able to capture it when I was in the mountains. It would have been so much of a more unique perspective if I could have been flying an FPV drone at this time, which, by the way, the Mavic Air 2S can get you a lot of those similar views. So check the video in the description below if you want to learn more about that. Because if I wanted that point of view, but I didn't really want to learn FPV, I would do that. Okay, let's recap. I have brought you through an unboxing of this drone, as well as the various options in which you can buy this drone, as well as how it stacks up against my other drones and when I'm using each one, with the goal of helping you to decide if this is the right drone for you or maybe not. I'm genuinely curious how long it will take me to get set up on this drone. So check out that next video and make sure you follow along with my journey in learning to fly this drone. I'm Christine. I'm here every week with new videos. Consider subscribing. Drop your tips if you have any for me in the comments below. I'd love to know them. And I'll see you in the next adventure. Ciao.